put your hands on your hips and tilt your pelvis back. And then take your pelvis to the original position and then see about tilting your pelvis forward. So today we are going to explore the core with a couple of movements. We are going to define what a neutral pelvis, a neutral rib cage is, and thus a neutral spine. And then we're going to do a little exploration of our side muscles, the muscles at the side of the waist, and what we can do with them in order to wake up the core a little bit while we are sitting. If you find it difficult to take your pelvis up and forward here in this exploration, you may want to try and move yourself more towards the end of your seat and not as close to the backrest. So when we're close to the backrest, we have the natural tendency to just relax into it, and there is no any activity in the trunk whatsoever. So if you take your pelvis more towards the edge of the chair, you will be able to find a pivot point around which you can tilt your pelvis back and then take it up and then take it forward. And as I have stated in previous videos, the neutral position of the pelvis while sitting is with the two pelvic bones and the pubic bone in a vertical plane, like this. So if I imagine that in the middle here is the pubic bone and these two are the pelvic bones, we want this vertical. If you can't get that, you can always bolster, which is simply you can put something under your seat bones so that you can get the missing length from something else, the missing length of the back of the legs and the glute muscles. But ultimately, you want to work towards restoring that range of motion in order for sitting with neutral pelvis to be comfortable for you. And so try to bolster yourself up appropriately. And let's just do one more time this. And this time, think of where are you performing this motion about. And I want you to think of doing this from the hip joint. So rotating your pelvis around the hip joint rather than hinging at the spine. And we're going to just sit with a neutral pelvis now. And we're going to put our hands on our ribs. And we're going to do the same exploration. So taking the ribs up and forward and then taking the ribs down and back. But here's the thing. You don't want the pelvis to come. So you want to anchor the pelvis and just move your ribs. And if you're not sure, I highly recommend that you have either a mirror or you video yourself with your mobile phone in order to make sure that you are not moving the pelvis with the rib cage in this scenario. And so for most of us, taking the ribs forward and up is easier than taking the ribs back and down. And it helps if you think of your rib cage as a three-dimensional structure. And in the motion down, you take the front of the rib cage down closer to the pelvis and the back of the rib cage up far further from the pelvis. And this involves a little lengthening of the spine here. So this is kind of compressing my spine and this is decompressing the spine in a way. And the neutral pelvis, the neutral position of the rib cage is the lowest ribs are stacked over the pelvic bones, which looks like that. So you're going to find your lowest ribs and you're going to find your pelvic bones, and these need to be in a vertical line again. So for most of us, this means dropping the ribs a little bit down, allowing for more length at the back, and using a slight abdominal contraction at the front. And then from here, you are going to check whether you haven't lost your neutral pelvis. You're going to double check if your ribs are neutral as well. And then you are going to turn to the right, making sure that the pelvis doesn't move, and then to the left, and then to the right, and then to the left, maintaining the neutral ribs in relation to the pelvis, and making sure, especially at the end of the motion, that you don't take your rib cage up in order for this rotation to appear bigger than you have available from your own muscles. So this is a spinal twist, axial rotation around the spine. It is very useful in waking up the core. It's really helpful for digestion as well. And you can integrate that into your day as just regular movement break that you do. And this is going to lengthen the muscles of your waist, which is going to place much less tension at the front of the belly and your back. So try this and let me know how you go.